guys, it is me, Jacqueline. For today's video, I have a non-spoilery book review for Freaks, and this is by Amanda Hocking. This is a YA fantasy paranormal book that is coming out on January 3rd. I was actually sent an e-arc in exchange for an honest review, so let's get right into it by talking about what this book is about. If you didn't know, this book actually takes place in the 80s, and in this book we follow our main character, Mara, whose family runs a sideshow. She's sort of sick of the whole sideshow lifestyle, so when they end up staying in a place in Louisiana, she decides to explore the town and ends up meeting a local boy named Gabe. Now, as she's sort of figuring out things, another sort of aspect is coming into play, and that's the fact that these performers are ending up being killed. And Mara realizes there is a creature that is actually killing these performers, and so she wants to figure out what exactly is happening, and that's really where our story takes off. In general, I like this book. I didn't love it. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. I just felt the cons outweighed the pros, so I will start off with the pros just so we can start on a positive note. For me, I love the fact that this was actually taking place in Louisiana in the 80s. The 80s is personally my favorite decade, so there was a little bit of things thrown in the book that really made me happy. Did I feel like it was a little bit of an overkill at sometimes? Yes, but in general, I love the idea that this book was taking place in the 80s in Louisiana. The other thing I liked about this novel was the whole sideshow aspect of the book. I really liked that. This was the first book that I read that featured a sideshow circus sort of thing. I haven't personally read a book like that. I own a couple, but I haven't read them yet. But this book makes me want to read them because I really enjoyed that feature part of this book. And then I want to move on to certain pros that have some cons attached to them. So, for example, the whole mystery aspect I liked, but I didn't like at the same time. So I liked the idea of it, but I felt the actual way it was executed lacked for me. I felt certain parts I was really anticipating, and then other parts I was a little bit bored when it came to the plot, so the whole mystery aspect just felt flat. And then I want to mention another not pro but not con sort of thing, and that is the characters. Y'all know characters are extremely important for me. Sadly, I like these characters, but I didn't love them. That's just because I felt like there was a wall put up where I couldn't exactly connect to them. And then going on to a con, since we're talking about these characters, the relationship in this novel, the romance in this novel, I just didn't love because it felt so insta-love for me. And I'm not a fan of insta-love. Sometimes I don't mind it. It's not like something I hate. But in this book, it just felt very obvious because a major con I had for this book was the fact I felt this book felt so rushed. If you hear the cons I'm talking about, you know, the fact I was bored in certain parts, the fact I felt this book had insta-love. The entire main con I had for it was the fact I felt it was rushed, and that was a huge problem for me because it had so much potential, but I felt because certain elements were just swept under and then brushed off, if it was developed more, you know, this is a 400-page book. If it took time to really develop certain aspect, it could have been a really great book, I feel. This book reminded me a little bit of how I felt about American Horror Story Season 4. I actually ended up not finishing that season just because I didn't like it at all. I felt very underwhelmed by it and was really bored over it. A quick pro I wanted to mention, because I sort of said a lot of cons, was her writing. I did enjoy her writing. I felt like it was really easy to follow, and that really helped me to finish this book. Like I said, this is about 400 pages and I read it in about a day's time, and even though I had those bored moments, her writing was easy to follow and simple enough for me to be able to actually pull out of those bored moments I felt this book had. I was interested in Amanda Hocking's other books, so that's why I was really excited to pick this one up, because I never read any of her other books, and so this was the perfect opportunity to pick up a book by Amanda Hocking. I've heard of her trilogy, which I'm still interested in picking up, because even though I didn't love this book, maybe I will try out the first in the trilogy and see how I find it. You never know. In general, I don't think this is a bad book, but the cons I did mention had such a high impact on the way I rated this book, and that's why I gave it a 2.5. I do and can picture people actually liking this book, but yet again, one of my biggest cons is when books are rushed. I love character development, I love plot development, I love substance in my book, and when I feel that sometimes things are just brushed by, it really irks me, and so that's why I gave it a 2.5. If it had a better developing story, I could definitely imagine giving this book like a 3.5, but in my personal opinion, comparing it to other books I have read, I just feel like this really lacked. That's all I had for this review, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down below in the comment sections what you thought of my review or this book if you decide to pick it up on January 3rd. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!